section that's on that webpage, is that Issue 2 and Senate Bill 5 will make our nursing shortage worse by denying nurses the right to bargain over staffing. Denying nurses the right to bargain over staffing. Look at it. I'm suggesting to you folks that passing Issue 2 and putting Senate Bill 5 into effect will attract nurses to the state of Ohio. It'll attract nurses in the public sector in Ohio, because they'll know that they're not being judged by some arbitrary criteria. They'll know that they're going to be judged by their performance. They'll know that their wages and their salaries are going to be based upon merit. Holy smokes, merit? Yes, merit. And that those factors will, in all likelihood, attract nurses to the public sector in the state of Ohio. And that can only be good for all of us. The Ohio Department of Administrative Services has estimated that if Senate Bill 5 were in effect today, and that is to say Issue 2 had passed a year or two ago, that the total savings for the state and local governments in the state of Ohio would be $1.3 billion. $1.3 billion. Now, that's not the entire Ohio budget, and unfortunately, it's not that much money in the scheme of what the government spends, but it is an important start, and it's one that I urge you to get out there and vote to support. Will, in fact, if you pass Issue 2 and Senate Bill 5 goes into effect, will it, in fact, save us $1.3 billion a year? I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, folks. I don't know. I don't know. What I do know is that the bill and the issue will provide local governments with the tools that they need to save that kind of money every year. And I'm afraid, I'm not afraid, in fact, I'm enthused that ultimately, whether or not those savings are realized is up to you and you and you. Because you're the ones who are going to vote for local elected officials. You're the ones who are going to determine the extent to which they have the spine and the intelligence and the wisdom to use the tools that Senate Bill 5 gives to them. And I have every confidence that you will not only vote yes on Issue 2, urge your friends and family and colleagues to do likewise, and get out there and elect those public officials who are going to be able to use those tools. I'm happy to answer any questions anyone has, and I thank you all very much again for your invitation to come to Lake County and for your patience tonight.
We're going to take about 5 minutes for questions. Before we do, does anybody know how many school levies we have on the ballot in November in Lake County? There's at least 4, if not 5, school levies on the ballot for additional money. These aren't renewals, this is for additional money. So, question up here?
Yes.
And if you could repeat the question.
Senate Bill 5, is that similar to the one in Wisconsin? Is that based on Wisconsin?
Well, we don't base, the question is Senate Bill 5 similar to the one in Wisconsin? Is it based on the one in Wisconsin? And I'm frank to say that we in Ohio, we don't follow anybody's lead. No, I take your point, but yes, they're very similar in many respects because they do address the collective bargaining relationship between public employers and public employees. Yes.
Don't you feel that this has turned into like a battleground state where you look at all the unions around the country watching us? Don't you think that they're putting a lot of money into a no on Issue 2?
The question is, do I think there are a lot of labor organizations around the country, maybe even outside of Ohio, who are putting a lot of money into defeating Issue 2? You'll get nothing but a true answer from me, sir. I don't know, but it stands to reason. I mean, and quite frankly, I wouldn't blame them if they did. I mean, these are sacred cows and very important to the ability of labor leadership to be able to say to their members, look what I did for you today. So yeah, that would not surprise me. I'm afraid I don't have those numbers in front of me, but I suspect at some point in time during the campaign, there is, I think up until, I think up until the 14th or the 14 days before the election, there needs to be some kind of a fiscal report filed by political action committees and whatnot regarding the sources of their funding, and that information generally should be available through the Secretary of State's website. But no, it would not surprise me. Yes. Yes, sir.
You mentioned when you first started talking about the 2015, the schools would be showing deficits.
Yes, sir.
Is that because of an escalation of wages and benefits?
As a general proposition, it is. I think the number was, now, look, there's a lot of problems in a lot of schools, okay, that have to do with, you know, student enrollment and the cost of running an operation under any circumstances. But I recall hearing a number to the effect that the wages and benefits for public employers is something on the nature, I want to say like 20–25% of the total cost of their doing business.
85.
Was it 85? It was the reverse. I'm sorry. It was the reverse. It was the reverse. And I was thinking the part that wasn't. So it's, yeah, it's a big piece of the puzzle. I don't pretend to suggest to you that it's everything, that all of those billions of dollars of deficits are strictly wages and benefits, but it's a substantial part of it. Yes, sir.
Hi, you've been an attorney, I'm confused, maybe getting out of my confusion. When we were gathering signatures for the Healthcare Freedom Amendment, we were kind of told that SB 5 was not conditioned with issues 2 and 3, and you kind of lumped them together as a hand-in-hand issue. Maybe they were misinformed, or I was misinformed. I'm not sure. I'm not for unions getting any more power or strength, and I mean, we go on online about that, but they are a hand-in-hand type of bill. If one passes, one doesn't, it would make that big a difference. How are they drafted?
The question is whether issue 2 and issue 3 are basically wedded at the hip. A vote for one is. I'm sorry. Senate Bill 5.
Yeah.
Well, Senate Bill 5 and issue 2 are wedded at the hip.
Okay.
Because Senate Bill 5 was passed by our legislature. And there's a procedure in Ohio that says if they file enough petitions, they can stop the bill from going into effect. And if the people vote against the bill, then it does not go into effect. So right now, issue 2 is whether or not Senate Bill 5 should go into effect. There are opponents who are trying to stop it. They want you to vote no. If you want Senate Bill 5 and all of these terms and circumstances that I described to you to come to pass, you must vote yes on issue 2.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll take one more question.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned Columbus and Franklin County.
Yes, sir.
What is the difference of the employee contributions now and what it would be under issue 2?
As I understand it, and again, you'll forgive me for not remembering what Auditor Yost said, whether it was Franklin County or Columbus, and that was on the requirement that the employees pay their full share of their pension contribution. But his remark was that in that area, Columbus or Franklin County, whichever it was, that under issue 2, the public employees would be required to pay 10% of their wages in a pension contribution. Today, they pay 0. 0. Now, that's because it's allowed to be done that way.
Is that because of the commissioners or the council?
It's largely because of the labor contract that was negotiated on behalf of the employees there, which the county commissioners ultimately adopt. And whether they would have to do that under Senate Bill 5, it's clear that they would not have to do that under Senate Bill 5.
I might add to that because I've had teachers say I'm already contributing to it, and I went online apparently